Okay, let's unpack this. We're setting aside the defense today and focusing purely on attack. We're diving deep into the singular high-impact skill that really defines offensive serving in volleyball, the topspin serve.
Right. And what's fascinating here for you, the listener, is the sheer measurable offensive edge this technique gives you. Our sources consistently claim that truly mastering the topspin serve isn't just about, scoring occasionally. It can genuinely help elite players add, say, 3 to 5 aces per game.
Hmm.
It is the definitive technique engineered to make the opposing passers, well, feel constant pressure.
Yeah, that's our core mission today, then, to explore that combination, that synthesis of raw power and aggressive forward rotation that defines this serve. We need to really nail down the precise mechanics, the wrist snap, the acceleration, everything required to achieve that feared trajectory. Because unlike a float serve, this ball has to dip and drop like right when the opponent expects to make clean contact.
Exactly. The primary objective, you see, of the topspin serve is to maximize that forward rotation, creating a spinning motion on the ball that fundamentally destabilizes its flight path. This is the crucial point. It doesn't float. It actively drives itself down.
Okay, but let's dive into the physics of that a bit, because simply saying it dips feels a little, well, vague for what's actually happening. Why does generating that extreme forward rotation make the ball drop faster? Is it just gravity?
Ah, good question. No, it's more than gravity. That's where the critical insight lies, and it's the core difference between this and, say, a float serve. We're talking about the Magnus effect. Basically, when you apply significant topspin, the air flows faster over the top surface of the ball compared to the air flowing underneath it.
Okay, faster over the top, slower underneath.
Right, and that difference in airspeed creates a pressure difference. Lower pressure on top, higher pressure below. This pressure difference generates a net downward force. It's literally pulling the ball steeply toward the floor after it crosses the net, much faster than gravity alone would.
Got it. So here's where the technique becomes actionable for the player then. Generating that kind of spin, that magnitude of forward rotation, it requires striking the ball not just hard, but with a really specific, pronounced follow-through and contact point. We're talking about hitting the ball high and slightly on the top back, then snapping a wrist over it, right?
Absolutely. The contact is paramount. You nailed it. If you imagine the ball as a clock face, a powerful topspin contact needs to be around, say, 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock, brushing up and over the top. The arm acceleration is definitely key. You need that speed. But the wrist snap is the real differentiator here. The sources really highlight that without a violent, almost whip-like wrist action right at the moment of impact, well, you simply turn what could be a great topspin serve into just a hard, flat drive that probably sails long.
Right, so the strategic outcome is getting both things at once, power and accuracy. You're combining high speed with significant spin to make the ball behave, well, unpredictably in those last few meters of its flight. And this, of course, relies entirely on consistency. The sources really drill down on the need for meticulous technique, don't they?
Yes, consistency isn't optional here. It's really the foundation. To reliably generate that powerful dipping trajectory, players have to kind of obsess over their setup. We're talking about the toss height being consistent, always slightly in front of the hitting shoulder. That allows the body to lean into the contact properly. Every single element, foot positioning, body alignment, the high contact point, it all must be mastered so that wrist snap happens in the ideal window. That ensures the spin transfer is maximized every single time.
Okay, this also brings up the maybe higher impact variation, the jump topspin. If you master the ground-based version, what fundamentally changes when you add the jump? Does it just add power?
Well, it adds power, yes, but it also elevates your trajectory dramatically. That's maybe even more important. By hitting the ball from a much higher point, you effectively reduce the net clearance problem. You have more court to work with, and you increase the downward angle available for that Magnus effect to really take hold. Now, it's significantly harder to master, no doubt, because you have to time that aggressive wrist snap precisely at the apex of your jump. But when it's done right, wow, the ball hits the floor much sooner and much harder. It really challenges the passer's depth perception under extreme speed. Hashtag strategic targeting and serve diversity.
That raises an important question, though. Given all this focus on aggression, on power and spin, is effective serving just about this one high-powered attack? Or is strategic placement the real key to getting those, 3 to 5 extra aces?
Oh, absolutely. It's about diversity and placement. Hugely important. While the topspin serve is your offensive hammer, let's say, you must practice it alongside the deceptiveness of the float serve. And maybe even a jump float or a standard jump serve to keep opponents perpetually guessing. If they only see one look, especially in high-level play, they adjust fast. You need to mix it up.
I appreciate that distinction. Okay, so let's focus on the strategic ball placement of the topspin serve. Specifically then, serving to specific areas of the court isn't just random, it's designed to disrupt their whole offensive strategy before it even starts. This moves beyond just hitting hard and becomes like true tactical warfare on the service line.
It really does. And the key strategic objective for a topspin server often is hitting the seams. The seam, is in that space right between two receiving players, say, between the outside passer and the middle back. When you hit that seam effectively with topspin, it forces an immediate split-second communication breakdown. Exactly. Neither player is sure if the ball is theirs, and that often results in either a weak, passive bump, or, ideally for the serving team, an overpass right back to your side, which, sets up an immediate transition attack. Free point, basically.
Okay, so practicing strategic targeting means players have to practice hitting precise, narrow court zones, like really narrow. We're not just aiming for the back corner generally. We're talking about maybe short serves that test the libero's forward movement or deep serves that pin the main passer against the baseline, and crucially, targeting specific players.
Yes, targeting individual players is essential for exploiting perceived defensive weaknesses. If an opposing outside hitter seems like a shaky passer, you continually attack them, wear them down, deplete their energy before they even get a chance to hit. Or, perhaps one of the most devastating tactics, you target the setter. A well-placed topspin serve right on the setter forces them out of their optimal setting position. That neutralizes their ability to run a complex, fast offense and often forces them into just a high, predictable set to the outside.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, effective serving is just never about raw power alone. Never. It's equally, maybe even more, about control, accuracy, and that strategic placement. You're attacking with your mind as much as your arm, constantly analyzing the opponent's formation, their tendencies, and finding that weak link.
And that leads directly to the training methodology required, doesn't it?
Right.
Translating that strategic intent into reliable execution, hitting the setter consistently, hitting that seam, executing that wrist snap under pressure. It all requires consistent, perfect practice and repetition, not just mindless reps. The sources really stress that success is built on measuring progress, not just repeating movements. You need data. You need to know your ace rate, your error rate for each type of serve and each target zone you're working on. Hashtag connecting serve mastery to the elite mindset.
This intensity, this level of technical focus, it brings us to the mindset required for true mastery, I think. Why do elite athletes focus so intensely on mastering a single, almost granular skill like the topspin serve? What's the bigger picture there?
Well, it connects directly to the overall commitment that knowledge, even very specific technical knowledge, like how exactly to snap your wrist, is only valuable when it's understood and applied through relentless, consistent effort. The sources spend quite a bit of time detailing the necessary mindset, which really transcends the physical skill itself.
Yeah, they truly emphasize that deep sense of accountability. The commitment is summarized nicely by that insight that players must recognize, that they are responsible every day for getting better. It's kind of a harsh truth, isn't it? In elite sports, you're either actively improving your technique, getting closer to that ideal wrist snap, that perfect toss, or you're actually falling behind. There really is no standing still at that level.
Exactly. And this highlights the necessity of continuous, focused effort, which is so critical when a technical element like the topspin serve is incredibly sensitive to minor adjustments. Think about the frustration involved for a player learning this. You hit one perfect dipping ace, and maybe the next 10 sail out of bounds. The instant gratification mechanism just isn't there most of the time. True athletic improvement, especially in a skill like this, is about consistent work day in, day out, building this skill step by step, brick by brick.
And the sources use examples like Legends' Cart Curley to exemplify this kind of dedication. He emphasizes that he has to do everything possible to prepare himself for matches, not just physically, but mentally too, so that he can then play without fear of losing, because he knows unequivocally that he's put in the foundational, difficult, often boring work.
Precisely. That preparation is exactly what makes the topspin serve reliable under the intense pressure of a match. It's the thousands upon thousands of repetitions of the toss, the specific arm swing, and that crucial wrist snap, all drilled to the point where it becomes unconscious competence. You don't think, you just do. The ultimate lesson here, maybe even for something as technical as defining the Magnus effect for a volleyball, it isn't about the visible desire to win, because let's be honest, everybody shares that. It's about the will to prepare to win. That's the differentiator.
It's that dedication in the gym day after day that turns the technical instruction we've talked about today into a genuine game-winning weapon.
Indeed. It's that dedicated preparation that allows the topspin serve to function as a reliable strategic tool, rather than just an occasional powerful hit.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the learner, taking this information back to the court? The topspin serve relies fundamentally on precise contact high on the ball and a violent wrist snap for maximum forward rotation. That rotation causes the ball to dip sharply because of the Magnus effect. That's the physics. But this technical foundation absolutely must be integrated with a strategic intent. Serving with diversity, targeting the seams between players, and constantly challenging the setter.
Right. And maybe I'll leave you with a final thought, built on that foundational concept of dedication we just discussed, derived from the sources. We often seek the spotlight, the glory of success, but remember this truth about mastering any difficult athletic skill, especially this one. There is no glory in practice, but without practice, there is no glory. That consistent, focused, often unseen work is precisely what translates the technical requirements of the topspin serve into those reliable, match-winning aces.
Great final thought. Take these granular insights about wrist acceleration, contact points, strategic targeting into your next training session. Keep diving deep.